Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, poleni sana. How many minutes late? 7 minutes late. Sorry. I had to prepare, not prepare as for the show. Kahawa, nifanye. This was impromptu. I didn't even prepare my stuff that I wanted to talk about. I'm just going to freestyle my way through this. But since I had put the thing there saying that I'll be here at the time that I put it, I'm here. So karibu sana. Karibu sana, karibu sana. I see Goody was in the comment section. He was waiting for on the wings. Sorry. I came in late. Sorry for the wait. Karibu sana, my friend Goody. And others that are watching who have been ardent supporters of this channel. I would like to thank you so much. Karibu sana. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes just to join. Give yourself time to relax, have a seat, put your feet up, grab some drink, popcorn, food, whatever you're doing. Or if you're at work, for those of you who work on Sundays, are in a 24-hour economy, 7 days, whatever the case is, or you're in a business, you don't have anything going on, just turn on this channel and put your earphones on and just listen to what I have to say. And if you want to join in, please feel free. I'll put the link up if you want me to put the link up, okay? So karibu sana, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. This is Kenya Revolutionary. You know the first order of business is due to what? Like the video. Like. And if you haven't subscribed and you're seeing me on your timeline or you just popped up to you on YouTube and you see me, I'm live, what do you need to do? Subscribe to the channel. Then like the video. Then turn your notifications on so next time I come in, you can always get me here. I'm namna gani? Okay, karibu sana, karibu sana. Okay? Karibu. I can't say it more enough. I can't stress it enough. Mada leo is the Great Muguka debate. The Great Muguka debate. Where do we start? Anyway, as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I usually just, go around some other stuff before I even get to the main topic. The main topic is the debate about Muguka. Several politicians from the central province, Embu, Meru, wherever the Muguka has been, the areas that, produce Muguka producing farmers area, they have come out and said, hey, if the people in the coast are going to boycott or stop the sale of Muguka in their counties, then we shall do the same with Mabuyu and their products. Karibu sana, Goody, I see you. Karibu sana. Thank you for joining me. Been a while. Haven't seen you since the whatever. Yeah. So people from other central province, MPs and leaders, local leaders who hail from Muguka producing counties are saying that, listen, if the governor of Mombasa and Kilifi and whoever are saying that we cannot transport our Muguka to their counties, then we shall not accept their products like Mabuyu and all that stuff. So it's kind of a tit versus tat, tit for tat kind of thing, tit versus tat. But you get what I'm saying, right? But anyway, I will touch on that. But I want to say something. I want to highlight something. Let's go through the headlines that's happening. There was a gentleman, just the news in general, okay? Kwa sababu there are still people who are, first of all, just politics quickly, before we get to the Muguka part. I'll start with other stuff, then I'll get to Muguka, okay? Just very quickly. The Azimio side are still obsessed with this whole idea of the amount Ruto used. Mabuyu great fruits. Yeah, I love Mabuyu. I miss Mabuyu. Oh my goodness. I used to live in Mombasa coast region. Mabuyu was something. I miss it. I miss Mombasa. Oh my goodness. I need to make a trip. I just got a flashback, kidogo. Mabuyu was our thing when we were in school back in the days, tunaenda tunapura mnazi, then we'll buy Mabuyu, and they would put some flavor. There was to be flavor where you can put it, and it was, tunai nyonya, whatever the case is, okay? But nice product. But anyway, as I say, excuse me. Wacha nikunywe kahawa. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Take your time, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Muingie hapa mara moja. Like the share, like the video, share, subscribe, do all the stuff, okay? Okay. So the Azimio folks are still making noise about the expenditure or the cost of the presidential visits, presidential travels. Ruto is still using that private jet that his friends from UAE leased, gave him as a gift to fly around the world with it. He went to USA with it. He came back. He went to the GA meet. Was it GA somewhere? Where was it that he was there somewhere? Is it Sri Lanka or somewhere? Somewhere in Asia. And apparently tonight he's going back to Tokyo somewhere. And guess what jet he's using? The same jet, okay? Now I know there are people who are saying, yes, actually, it's in the Constitution, Kenyan Constitution, 2010 Constitution, Article 76 or 75, if I believe it's 76 or 75, where it kind of breaks down if a public official receives money or gift, he has to disclose that. So you can go read it for yourself, then see how that fits in with Ruto's situation, okay? I'm not going to kind of delve in that because it's a bunch of nothing. There's nothing that's going to happen there. Azimio just, Azimio are dead. Like, there's nothing. They don't have an agenda. They have no plan. These guys are just, Raila is in freaking, I think he's in Ireland today or somewhere in UK, living his best life, okay? You saw Sifuna, the loudest of the bunch, who at least was doing something, putting his foot on Sakaja's neck. But after Raila, receives his 200 million, Sifuna is in UK with Raila Odinga, enjoying life. The last time I saw him, he had a selfie with him enjoying a bottle of Tusker. So Sakaja is not a problem to him anymore. Sakaja is ruling free. In fact, Sakaja was celebrating a win somewhere in Nairobi. It's a mess. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no opposition. Opposition of Shaba and Nunuliwa, they're enjoying life in UK, while Ruto is doing whatever he's doing, okay? So this issue with Azimio mentioning, making a big deal out of Ruto's, cost or spending millions that he's using to, hire that, rent that private jet and so forth is a non-starter. It's just a story to try to excite the Azimio faithful and, show the public that, okay, we are posing something. We are the opposition, for crying out loud. We are doing our job by mentioning how much Ruto is spending on his private jets and all that stuff. It's just a PR stunt on the Azimio side. Is it wrong that the president is using all this money to travel here and there, blah, 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 blah? Yes, we can make an argument about that, but that's not the number one issue that we should be kind of worried about right now. We have a finance bill, which people are debating. We have a budget that was passed illegally, as our friend Ukia Mtata just took it to courts. Those are the things that we should be worrying about, because those are the things that actually affect us directly. Yes, the cost of the jets that the president is using will cost us, the taxpayers, but I'm saying there are more pressing issues that we should worry about. So for the Azimio folks, instead of talking about the illegality of the budget and the finance bill, which, we are going to be what we should worry about, they're focusing on the president's jet and all this nonsense and all this Gachagua versus Ruto, which is it doesn't even exist to me, okay? But anyway, we'll get to that. There's other news that's happening. Let me read the comments real quick from Gudia here. She's telling me something. She's saying, you need more kahawa. He has flown secretly because of the promised money trading by sending Kenyans to go and work in Korea. Sikujua hiyo maneno. Wait, let me read it again. Guya is reminding me, I need more kahawa apparently. Let me take a sip before I finish the sentence. Ruto has flown Kisongo Kali, Ruto has flown secretly because of the promised money trading by sending Kenyans to go and work in Korea. I didn't know he had a deal with Korea to send people there. So who is he going to pay? Is he going to pay the Koreans for the Kenyans that he's going to send over there? You know, this human trafficking that's going on here, I don't know. Ruto is involved in human trafficking, sending Kenyans in Korea. What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, comrades? I didn't know about this promise. Ruto has 1,000 promises, okay? I don't even know which one is it. Remind me, keep me focused here. I don't know what's going on with Ruto. But apparently, yeah, Goodyear is telling me that's one of the promises that he gave. So, yeah, I'm telling you, Ruto is something else. There's one thing I want to touch on very quickly that kind of relates to something that I talked about this morning. Just very quickly. Can I go very quickly? Okay, let's get to it. And I will touch a little bit. Just a few stuff that I wanted to mention here about the South African election. Okay, I want you to. I will read with you. Join me in reading this. Goodyear is saying Koreans giving him money in return. Oh, so Koreans are giving Ruto money, then he'll send some people, you know, basically his human trafficking, okay? Me, I don't know. Why is everyone gifting Ruto? That's what I'm saying. Why is everyone gifting? What's human trafficking? I'm telling you, we should arrest Ruto. Ruto should be taken to the courts for human trafficking. This is ridiculous. But there's something I wanted to focus on. Let's just move away from Ruto for a second. I mean, you can enlighten me while I do this, but I just want to touch on something. You remember I mentioned how similar the situation in South Africa and in the Kenyan elections were with regards to the rigging stuff and whatever. Just take a look at this tweet, which was tweeted by the Omkoto Sizwe party that mentioned something that I read and I got jitters because it took me back to how the Kenyan stuff was. Let's read it. Very quickly. Are you ready? All right, let's do it. Here it is, Omkoto Sizwe. This was a few hours ago, okay? This is what they wrote. Let me show more right there. Can you guys see it on the screen? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. All right. Goodyear says she's happy with the results in South Africa. No, I'm not. I am not happy personally. I think, no, I'm not happy. I'll tell you why, but we'll get to that. So Omkoto Sizwe wrote, number one, MK, which is Omkoto Sizwe's, MK Party's Muzi Shingila explains, okay, that there's manual and electric counting. Sound familiar? He said manual and electronic counting. Sounds familiar, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters from Kenya? Sounds familiar? Manual and electronic counting, okay? Number one, the manual counting happens is at the voting station, also known as polling station, okay? With party agents. It's crazy. I was reading this, I was like, I'm getting flashbacks. I'll start again, I'm a bit slow. The party's Muzi Shingila explains that there's manual and electronic counting. Number one, manual counting happens at the voting station with party agents. Two, then the results slip goes to the IEBC Regional Election Center, where it's captured into the IEC system. IEC system is similar to the IEBC we have in Kenya. It's the electoral something, independent electoral something, okay? Then no party agents were allowed to oversee the process of capturing, which is a no-no because all the party agents should see how the procedure, the process is being captured. The numbers that they've already agreed on, that is to be transferred to the electronic machine. All the party agents should oversee the process, see how it's been done. Okay, that is where most discrepancies, acts of corruption and criminality took place. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, James Wood, karibu sana, nice seeing you. Good year, sorry. Good year, in Africa, when you are beaten, it's called rigging. Yes and no. In some cases, yes. Some cases, no. Some cases there's legit concern. The Raila one in 2022 was a farce, okay? But in 2017, he had a strong case. 2013, he had a strong case. 2007, he had a strong case, okay? So we have to take it case by case and see what they're talking about. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed it, I'll read it one last time and see how similar the process was with the Kenyan situation, okay? So let's get it clear. Let's read it. Mr. Muzi Shingila explains that there's manual and electronic counting. Same thing as the Kenyan case. Number one, the manual counting happens at the voting station or polling station, as we call it in Kenya, with party agents, okay? All the party agents, whether it's the DA, Mokoto Sizwe, EFF, and all the others, ANC, all the agents should be around and present while the counting happens at the polling station, which is the voting station, okay? Then number two, then the results, the slips, the paper that the results have been tallied on, okay, all the numbers shall go to the IBC. They'll be taken to the IEC, which is similar to the IEBC one in Kenya, Regional Election Center, where it's captured into the IEC system. So these numbers has to be taken to the Regional Election Center. So theirs is a little bit different, but kind of the same concept. They transport all these counted numbers, ballots, whatever. They take it to the IEC Regional Election Center, where the numbers, the tallied numbers, are captured and, put into this electoral system, okay? When I engage that information to the electoral system. So here's where's the mischief is. And he says, no party agents were allowed to oversee the process of capturing. That is where most discrepancies, acts of corruption, and criminality took place. Okay? So here's the gentleman. I'll let him speak.
There is a manual and an electronic counting. But if you understand the system, the only manual counting that happens is at the voting station. And once the result slip leaves the voting station, it goes to the regional election center, where it's captured into the system, where no party representation was allowed to oversee the process of capturing. And that's where most discrepancies, acts of corruption, and criminality took place. So suggesting that there are mechanisms or integration of two processes that ought to bring about credibility is extremely misplaced. That the only process or phase where there is representation of party agents is the physical counting at a voting station. Thereafter, IEC takes over.
Okay, so you got the point, right? So basically what he's saying, as you heard him, it's clear English, nothing really new. He said, when at the polling station, all the agents were present, and everyone saw how the counting happened. But the problem is when the results and the tallying materials, the ballots, including the results, when it was transferred to the IEC center, where it was going to be put into the electoral system where everyone can actually see, that's where the mischief is, because no agent from any party was present and didn't oversee the process. And that's where the mischief is. That's why the Umkhonto Sizwe, led by Jacob Zuma, they're calling for a hand recount for the whole, process. I don't know if it's the all polling station or just some specific ones, okay? But basically, they're calling for a recount. They're telling them, let's not announce the final results because there's some discrepancies, okay, or rigging. There's good. In fact, Zuma said he has evidence, very good evidence of the rigging happening. Okay, so that's what's happening. The reason why I mentioned that because this kind of sounds similar to what happened in Kenya in 2017. Now, I know the Azimio ones will jump in here and tell me, you see, this is what they did. This is what happened. That's a similar case in Kenya. Not quite exactly. The Azimio folks did not have enough agents at the polling station. That's number one. And that is not the fault of the Kenya Kwanza people. If you don't have enough agents, hapo ni kwako. That's on you, okay? All right? Now, the second thing, the difference between that electoral process with ours in Kenya was that soon as the counting was concluded at the polling station, the results was announced and was the captured, and then they would put it on the portal, which I will call it the electoral system, the equivalence of the electoral system, IEC electoral system of South Africa. They did not have to first take it to a IEC center or IEB center as the version for it to be put in the electoral system. In Kenya, they counted it, hopefully with all the polling agents present at the polling center. They captured the results. Okay, after they all agree, and Sahi signatures there, then they post it immediately. They upload it on the portal. Then the IEBC agent would drive to the Bomas with the original paperwork. Meanwhile, the results has already been captured and uploaded on the portal. So if the final announcement is made at the Bomas Center, it should correspond with what was uploaded at the polling station. So if there's any discrepancies between the two figures, then Azimio could have made a case. But these guys will ask, hey, can you show us any polling station that kind of had a difference as far as the numbers were not the same? And these guys could not come with an answer. So the Chief Justice say, hey, listen, don't waste our time. Get out. Take your stuff and get out. Okay? And that's the difference. But for these guys in Umkhonto Sizwe, they are saying, and not only Umkhonto Sizwe people, they are even the DA, Democratic Alliance Party, ANC, they are saying there's some parts where the rigging took place. So I think the prudent thing to do is to actually have a hand recount of these polling stations where rigging took place, was suspected of happening, okay? And they should do that. Then after counting those, that's when they should announce the winner. But failure to do this thing will probably go to the courts. I told you why South Africa going through this. Go watch my video from this morning. Goody is telling me NC, hold on, let me get my NC is a party of oppressors, bullies, and unjust. Don't forget the displacement which has been happening under them. Yes, ANC has been going south for a while. They've been messing up for years. But there's a catch. Kim's kids were different. James, can you elaborate on that, please, Father? Kim's kids were different. Like, what do you mean? I'm kind of lost there. They were different. Like, what do you mean? James, please help me. You make a good point. I don't know. Maybe it's an angle that I never looked at. You told me Kim's kids were different. As in, what do you mean different? I'll be waiting for your reply. Anyway, so that's one thing I really wanted to mention regarding that. Well, regarding our friend there, friends, the ANC and all that good stuff. Okay. Now, let's move on to another news that made place. There was a young man who apparently, this is just news. I'm just going through news. There's a, I don't know if I should show this. I mean, I'm not going to. We already made my case about the South African. I don't think it will really, people, you guys get the point why this thing is happening. Okay. James is saying I'm talking about 2022 as the Mio case. Yeah. Okay. Why? What was different? Like you say, Kim's kit was different. Just elaborate. Like explain to me, Kidogo, what you mean by that. I mean, I get it's different, but how? What are you saying? Like, what's the case there? Kim's kit are different. I mean, can you help me? Like, how does that kind of, break it down? I'm sorry. Woody is telling me the coalition should be a difficult one, but hey, hoy, that's how the cookies crumbles. Yes, yeah, but the coalition right now they're talking about the coalition ANC getting into a coalition with the DA, Democratic Alliance. It's not done yet. EFF also wants to get to a coalition. It's not done yet because this rigging stuff, if they ignore it, it can actually ignite something, chaos. Okay, so I think they have to deal with it at some point. Okay, they have to deal with it at some point, sooner rather than later. I mean, there's a huge number of people who are really, they know that there's nothing worse than if you want chaos. If you want chaos, go on and do something that's really against the people, something that people care dearly about. Okay, elections is one of those that people don't play around. So if a good chunk of the population feels that this election was rigged, and you continue with your coalition, especially, most of them people believe that DA, the Democratic Alliance, which is mostly African party, walifanya ile kitu and inflated some numbers. You are just inviting, that's a recipe for a disaster. You are inviting chaos. Do not do that. So I don't think South Africans, the IEC, they should get it together. The coalition, good day saying the coalition. Oh yeah, I read that already. Yeah, so I yes, there's talk. Some of them are talking about getting all these coalitions. It's not done yet. Some people are saying actually Jacob Zuma may have won the elections. That's how bad it was rigged. But I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see how South Africa deals with their solutions. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how they go about it. I mentioned it if you missed the first video earlier today, I mentioned that South Africa was being targeted by the West for its alignment or its affiliation with the BRICS, being part of the BRICS. Okay. And, it's the biggest economy on south of Sahara. So the West would like to make sure that they get their puppet in place in order to sway the South Africans away from the BRIC nations, so that they can be aligned with the West, okay? Because South Africa, I say again, it's a huge economic bloc south of Sahara, okay? That's why, they really looked at this election as one that they want to, fanya ukarabati so that they can get them on board. Now, speaking of ukarabati, our friends Oscar Sudi, Oscar Sudi. Oscar Sudi was not quiet. Oscar Sudi is standing up and say, "You kabila tuache kabisa." Oscar Sudi. You people know who Oscar Sudi is? Hey, Oscar Sudi is somebody. Okay? Oscar Sudi stood up today and say something. Yeah? You know, when Oscar Sudi speaks, we have to listen. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, Oscar Sudi has something to say today. Okay? And I'm going to play you what exactly Oscar Sudi said. I kind of generally, I do agree with these sentiments because he was saying imambo ya ukabila tuache. And like I've mentioned before, who is this person? What's his name? The deputy president is not helping his case when every time he gets into the microphone on the podium or any public platform, all he does is say, "Sisi wa Mount Kenya." This one. I mean, as I said, Gachagua, maybe you're on the right, you're on the wrong, you are holding a wrong office. Why can't you run to be the president of Mount Kenya? Because every time you wake up is what Mount Kenya, what Mount. You are the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, for Christ's sake. Act like it. Act like it. Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya. We get it. You're from Mount Kenya. You don't have to remind us. To support the president and work on the agenda that you work on to help Kenyans do better. Not talking about Mount Kenya when you wake up every day, you're arguing with the likes of Oscar Sudi and Sakaja. What? I mean, who cares? Okay. Goodyear says, "I don't understand why Zuma came out of retirement. He reminds me of Raila, who is on a soft retirement." Zuma, yes, Zuma, I think is 80 years old or something like that. He is literally 80 years old, and I'm not making that up. But Zuma is the last of the Mohegans, okay? Zuma is the last of the Mohegans. He's one of those ANC guys who kept stuck to the script, okay? He stuck to the script. Yes, he was taken down because there were brought up some allegations of corruption and all that stuff. But Zuma has never had his, it is said that Zuma has never been, what do you call it? What's the word? Compromised by the powers that be in South Africa, okay? Ramaphosa used to be ANC. He was one of those, guys who were there even before Mandela was, alishikwa. But Ramaphosa was compromised. He was given shares to big companies, these mining companies, and he became a billionaire. And he was, the corruption under him is ridiculous, okay? So he's not popular by any means. ANC, I played that in Neo by, I even played the clip by the Bishop, Archbishop, not Ndigi Mwana Wandizi. What's the name? Desmond Tutu, Desmond Tutu. Great South African, who warned ANC and told them, "Hey, listen, you guys have been compromised. You're going down the wrong path, and it will reach a day where people will fight to bring down ANC." And yes, his prophecy came to fruition. People were fighting to bring down ANC. So I think ANC and DA were working on, if I was to, play a prophet, if I had the clairvoyance back then, I would say ANC and DA were working on sabotaging the democratic process during this election in order for them to come in this coalition, okay? That's my view, because ANC is rife with corruption, rife. Zuma is said to be the last of the Mohegans. That guy came from that, the Chris Hani cloth, okay? He's those guys who are still pro-African, the African people, and he never took bribe from the bourgeoisie, the elites, South African elites. He always fights for the African people, not the Afrikaners, but for the Black Africans in South Africa. Obero is in the house. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Obere is telling us, oh, please, Kenya revolutionary, Zuma was in power and he did nothing for the people in terms of land. Why are you hyping up? Why hyping him up? Okay. During his time, of course, there was the land issue. Zuma cannot operate. Remember, Zuma was very close with the late Mugabe. Okay, Mugabe was straight up a dictator. You know, he didn't care about the process of the the land thing. He said, he arbitrarily decided this land we are giving back to the black farmers, taking it out for Wazungu, and he did that. In South Africa, there's a process. Okay, I think he had to go through the parliament, and the debate was there. So his hands were tied as far as the process of giving back these lands, the land issue. Okay, he couldn't just wake up and say, "Hey, listen, back to whatever." Okay, and besides, he was being fought. He was fighting. Even within the ANC, were fighting to remove him, which they actually succeeded. So you have to understand, he was not only fighting, in the National Assembly, their parliament, or whatever the case is, but he was also fighting people within his party, which makes it even more difficult to do such a thing. Okay, a decision like that is a huge decision. Okay, so the fight was even within ANC, and they succeeded to take him out. Okay, so yes, I get it. If you're looking at it generally, you would be like, you can come out and say, "Oh, why didn't he do that when he was the president?" You have to understand during his tenure what he was going through. And like I said, ask any South African ANC has never been, was corrupted after the, it's not like the ANC during Zuma was not the ANC that was there before Nelson Mandela and the gang, before Nelson Mandela went to, Robben Island. Okay. Yes, they were ideally, the ideas were well crystallized at the time, but once they took power, especially once Madiba left, corruption was rife. It started up, and things started going. There were a lot of them who were. Remember, de Klerk and all those people, they were not sitting back and looking at ANC and letting them do whatever they wanted. Okay, these guys were also looking and seeing how they can, break that ANC monopoly, because ANC was basically ruling the government. They had more power after Mandela resigned or whatever. God said, "Okay, I'm going to step down. I'm not running for the presidency anymore." So you have to remember, the point I'm trying to make is this: Zuma, even as when he was the president, he was under a lot of pressure within the party, let alone outside the party. So it was very hard for him to see through that process of giving back land to the black farmers. Okay, that's the point I would make. Okay, Goody is saying Mugabe was an all-rounder tyrant to everyone, black and white, displacing even the big five animals. As in South Africa, starting from Monday. ANC ANC failed South Africa starting from Mandela. Okay. Let me start with this Mugabe statement. Mugabe was, there was a documentary. Let me just relate it with Idi Amin. In hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight now, looking at what Idi Amin was trying to do in Uganda and the stories about Idi Amin. Idi Amin was not all those stories about him butchering people. Yes, there were people who were killed. I'm not denying this. But to the extent that it was reported, how he was portrayed by the media, I don't think Idi Amin was that evil as he was portrayed. Idi Amin was a Pan-Africanist. I know when people say here Idi Amin, they're like, yeah, that's the butcher. I get. So that's why I'm saying I'm relating that with Mugabe. Mugabe, yes, I don't know. There's Shona and Ndebele. I don't know which one is he. Was he Ndebele or Shona, whichever the case. Of course, to his people, Mugabe was not a hero at all. But Mugabe, if you look at all, in fact, if you're going to talk about, let's talk about the land issue specifically, okay? If you're going to talk about the land issue specifically, Mugabe was doing something that he was not on the wrong. The agreement between Zimbabwe, Rhode Island, and England was that that land was supposed to be used by the settlers, the white settlers, for a while. Then, after an X amount of time, the English were supposed to give it back to the black farmers. So basically, once that term had ended, Mugabe said, "Hey, listen, we agreed that after X amount of years, you shall give back the land to the African farmers." And the British government refused. That was an agreement between Mugabe and the British government. They refused. So Mugabe was like, you know what? I will take matters to my own hand. And he kicked out the white settlers, okay? Which the news was portraying Mugabe as this evil African tyrant who's kicking out the white farmers out of India. He's a racist and all that stuff. But he was telling the British, hey, listen, that was the deal. What's the problem? Okay. So basically that was it. But again, I understand he wasn't he wasn't an angel. Mugabe was no angel by all means. But as a freedom fighter, I would say, his credentials are solid. ANC failing South Africa, starting with Mandela. ANC have failed. With Mandela. I can understand. I think Mandela was kind of. I think the deal he made before he came out of prison, part of it was, listen, you're not going to restructure the political power in South Africa. Okay, you're not going to do that. So we'll make you president, but there's some things you're not going to change. The ownership of most of the people who control the South Africa's resources, that was to stay intact. Okay, don't come here and try to change stuff. I think that was the deal that was made before Mandela was let go. Okay, so in that regard, you can say, yes, Mandela let the South Africans down, but I just feel like if you've spent 27 years in jail and they make you a deal, tell you can become a president for whatever, I would take that deal any day. So I would kind of cut Madiba some slack on that. But yes, ANC had let South Africa down. They sold out. Walikuja wakanunuliwa, and they just became, now you see, even the elections reflect it. So many MPs were not re-elected. Okay, they're not the majority anymore. But anyway, yeah, let's go on. Let's see. Only Better is saying only. Obera says the only issue was Mugabe gave people the land which didn't know how to use it. They didn't honor the agreement. Yes, Obera, you're right. They didn't honor the agreement. Yes. You say Mandela and his wife Winnie were evil to the core. These two camouflage the world with their charm, but deep is unthinkable. Yes, I was disappointed. Like I said, to me, Mandela was disappointed when I found out he was part of this, I don't know, Knights of Malta, who are Jesuits, Freemasons, bullshit. Him and along with what's his name, Desmond Tutu. I can show you the video. You think I'm playing? I'm not making up stuff. I'm not making stuff. I'll show you. I'll show you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll show you. Let me just see. Okay, crap. I just lost my shit. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm losing my shit here. All right, hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay. I can't get it. It will let me. But anyway, Um, Winnie was your hero. um, do your research. You can simple type on YouTube. You can see a picture of Mandela and Desmond Tutu wearing the whole Knights of Malta, Freemasons, Jesuits bullshit. This secret society people. It's not conspiracy theory. Just do it. It's a simple click. You can find it. I was gonna play it, but my computer is acting up, and I don't want to mess with it. So Winnie. I can rock with Winnie far better than Mandela. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Winnie was a fighter. Okay, Winnie was a fighter. You know, she fought to the end. In fact, I mentioned, according to what's his name, Rotendo, the investigative journalist. He mentioned that Winnie Mandela, they stopped. They stopped. She stopped associating with Julius Malema because Julius Malema received money from the Queen of England. Okay, that's right after Winnie, before she died. But yeah, Mandela, Mandela had made some concessions, um, had to compromise with the powers that be in order for him to find his freedom. So, in that respect, you can say that he let Africa down. But to me, I'm saying I can't really be hard on Mandela. I feel like he did enough pre getting, uh, incarceration. Before he was in prison, I think Mandela did enough, had enough influence. Uh, he did his part for the struggle. So I can never fault him for, I can't say that he let South Africans down. I think he pushed the struggle, he pushed on the struggle to a point where, by the time he left, he became president, he was old and frail and was like, okay, you know what? Somebody should take over. Just like I keep on telling people, if Raila was a true statesman, a national hero, he would have reached a point and say, you know what, guys, I've come this far. Let somebody else take over from me and move on from that instead of being 90 years old, still thinking that you're the head of the youth, you're a youth leader. That's something that African leaders need to know or need to learn how to be. Mandela was the perfect example, He reached a point where he was like, you know what? Even though he made some concessions with the powers that be in South Africa, you can't really knock him because he had done his part. Now with Raila, Raila just doesn't know when to quit. Money still sweet and enjoys you know, the claps and the red carpet and all that stuff. If I was him, if you wanted to come out, as a hero, he would just, if I was him, he's probably like 80 years old, almost 80. The best thing to do would be like, hey, listen, I'm stepping down, bless the next generation, watch our endeze your struggle. The struggle continues. But Raila turned it to a business. So, now you can see his fame and influence is waning and is becoming more of a liability by the day. Just like Mugabe. Mugabe angefika mahali aseme, you know what, enough is enough. I did my stuff because Mugabe was an African. He is to some extent to this day still, regardless of people who might not like him. Mugabe is a freedom fighter. That you cannot take away from him. He was a freedom fighter. He defied the British. They tortured him and did all that. But Mugabe is an African hero. You cannot take away that from him. Okay, so the problem is he stayed in power for too long. He didn't want to leave. And now, if you don't want to leave power, that's what happens because it gets to a point where your time is up, but you don't get it. And people turn against you because now you kind of become a liability. And that's what happens. Okay. So leaders should know when to exit the stage. You should know when to exit, You need to know when to exit. You can't stay in power forever. Goody, on a lighter note, did not see how MP Osoro amused Ruto, Gachagua, and the delegates during the Madaraka Day celebration with his moves. I did not see it. I didn't actually watch the Madaraka Day thing. I don't know what was. Oh, I can't get this. Okay. my thing is acting up. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not attempt to play any video because shit. Is this like a freaking oh my god. Sorry guys, I'm having difficulties here. Sorry guys, I'm back. I was having difficulties there. I don't know what happened. But anyway, it's been 50 minutes. After that, don't. I will stop it here. My computer is acting up. It's like somebody was like messing with me. But anyway, I'll stop it here, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Goody, I'd like to thank you. Obera, I'd like to thank you. James, I would like to thank you. I have to stop it here. It's 51 minutes. My computer is acting up. I don't know. It's kind of like I'm getting attacked or something like that. But I will let it. I'll let it stop here. I would like to thank everybody. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. Thank you. Good year. I'll see you tomorrow. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. Go to my channel, subscribe, like, put your notification on every time I come in. You can see me, and I always post the link. If you want to get in the studio, we can always talk. Okay, guys, I have to go. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace and blessings.